not to freak out because I am shaking. You
don't shake.
You are
here.
Oh my gosh. You are so amazing.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Miss Victoria Rowell is in the house. Like, she is on Sheen Talk Live and I'm talking to her. Okay. I have
You look great, by the way. I just want to say you look amazing. And I just want to encourage everyone, keep it together. Keep it, moving and grooving.
You are my goals for that. You know that, right? Like, you are my goals. I was like blown away by your body of work. You're a producer, writer, director, actress, everything. You
Mom.
Of two, not just one.
Yeah.
Two. Yep. Oh my gosh, how do you do it all? Talk to us. We are all here to hear your wisdom.
Well, okay, fine. It's a great place to start with balance, okay? Balance is everything. And I start my day with prayer. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. Sheen
Thank
Magazine.
You for coming. Thank you.
Gratitude. I start with gratitude. I start with prayer. I start with remembering the people who raised me, my ancestors. Whether I have seen them or not, I feel them inside of me.
Right,
giving me the strength and the intestinal fortitude to march forward, and to not only march forward for self, but for others, to mentor others, to teach others, to share. Incredibly important. So I emphasize that. That's how I start my day. And then I started with a very strong cup of coffee. I gotta plug in.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
I'm plugging in, people.
A strong cup of coffee.
With a strong cup of coffee. So there you have it. So that's how I start my day.
I really love it. And work you do. Like, you are a busy woman. You are not only are you a director, female, Black female director, working on BET. How is that?
It's great. I feel like I've run 100 miles and ended up at my front door. So I really want to tell people, do not give up. As you know, I started my career with Viacom CBS in Hollywood.
Yes,
and worked on Young and the Restless for 14 years, over 2,000 episodes. I had the opportunity to cultivate story, to be able to choreograph, to be able to cultivate jobs for African Americans in writing and in local 706 hair departments. And that's very important to me in terms of the legacy is not just playing Drusilla, but really fighting for African American jobs behind the camera, and I still do. That said, I then would drive across the hill to work on a Viacom series, Murder Mystery with Dick Van Dyke, Diagnosis Murder.
Yes!
Which is still on the air on CBS Drama, still on the air on the Hallmark Channel. It really shows the test of time. And then want to just say to people, do the work. Sometimes stay out of the results. Just do the work, because who has Sony Pictures Television and CBS leaned into? The Black cast in reruns during COVID-19. They showed Drusilla's wedding this week. They're showing, they had to put up, and thank you, hashtag Winter's Family Week. That's not an accident. That's not an accident.
That's God's divine powers, I'm telling you.
God's divine power, and also the power of the Black cast that has somehow dissipated, all watered down, don't understand it, but we're going to get that back, I hope. George Reed, new president and CEO of CBS. Come on now, George. Let's get that Black cast. Come on, Sony. Bring back Walter. Bring
Victoria.
back Marvin Winter's family. Okay. So I do want to make that point that so many reruns have been infused by the Black cast. And I want the audience to know that the secret weapon that keeps Young and the Restless at #1 are older Black women in the South. #1 market is Louisiana. I want you to know that.
Yes.
And it's not only that. Let me just make this last point, Sheen Magazine. Let me just tell you this. It's not about necessarily who's watching the show. It's what you're buying during broadcast shows. So that Black people buy generationally. So if grandma bought the crest, the Tide, the Pampers, guess what? You're going to buy the Tide, the crest, the Pampers. But if you're buying the products and watching the show, and that show, those producers are not investing in you, then why are you watching it? So you have to make a decision, America. Am I supporting what does not support me? Love the show, love the character of Drusilla, but I'm about the business, baby, and you better believe that.
Drop mic. Y'all heard it here. She is not playing. Look, my dad have been watching you since I was a little kid. Young and I grew up as soon as I saw you, I knew who you were. It's like, oh my God. And you say Black women in the South. My dad is that Black man. He's a farmer, retired. Every day he go and watch it while he eat lunch. And so we would, it never was the same since you left. We're just saying it, right? It's the truth. I'm not
But you
just
know
saying
why
it.
I left, right? Do you understand why I left?
You know, I really don't. You want to talk?
Let's make it, let's clarify.
Speak.
I left because before I went before the camera, before I could utter a single syllable, I had actresses like Melody Thomas Scott running out on stage in an Afro wig, mocking my natural hair. That's before I spoke my first line. Before I spoke one of my first lines on a show, I was told that after fighting for a Black hairstylist, not only to do our hair, so we didn't have to wear wigs, but the whole cast. I mean, why are you in the union if you can't do all hair in the first place?
Boom.
But let me make the point. Before I even could get to the stage, you're telling me now that the Black cast has to get their hair done in a room under the Young and the Restless white cast members. Well, this happened not in the 1800s. This happened now. So I campaigned to get the Black hairstylist that we were fortunate to find to get us all up into the big house. Now, I'm not saying these things so that they can be sensational, but it is sensationally racist what is going on still in studios. We need economic inclusion, and the only way that's going to happen is if we have C-suites with African Americans in them so that we can literally be protected and have the same equality, parity at the job place. After a number of shenanigans, I will say, that were incredibly affronting, not only to myself, a lot of pushback to try to push me out the door, it became untenable for me to work under those conditions. I think executives knew I had a tremendous amount of power and still do, and was not afraid of speaking up for myself and others of color who would come to me and tell me their grievances. Not only actors, cameramen, grips, the few that there were, people in offices at CBS would come to me. They called me the Sojourner Truth of CBS. I gladly wore that, seriously wore that.
Yeah.
And I understood that there was a lot in the balance for speaking out to executives. Because you become enemy #1 when you're trying to bring about diversity. And by the way, when did diversity become a dirty word? Can somebody tell me?
I don't know. It's crazy. We need equality now. And you were fighting for it way back then. We thank you for that. Because I didn't know that.
Now it is happening. We have the NAACP that just completed a negotiation with Viacom CBS for a multi-year deal. We know that President CEO George Cheeks is looking to diversify C-suites, writing rooms. across the board, but we really need it to happen. It can't
Yes.
just be in a headline. And I'm waiting for the phone to ring because after 22 years in aggregate with Viacom CBS, I certainly have a roster of individuals of color who would love the opportunity. And I'm hoping that I get that call to give the names, the bullet pointed names and union members that would love a shot at bringing a show to CBS, would like to show run, would be qualified in that corner C-suite at CBS Television City or over at Studio City Radford or at BlackRock in Manhattan. We're ready.
Yeah, you ready. I saw it on UMC Streams, your thing, and I love it. It says streaming Black better.
Yes.
Drop mic right there. I was like, you don't have to say anything else. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so proud.
Powerful.
I'm proud to be a member of the Urban Movie Channel, the UMC family. Our parent company is AMC Networks, and I wouldn't have the opportunity to have 3 streaming shows on UMC if it were not for being given an opportunity by Robert L. Johnson, one of the co-founders of BET. This is his brainchild, UMC. And without Robert Johnson, Bob Johnson, without a Tracy Blunt, who's now with the NFL, without an Angela Northington, back in the day, I would not have had the opportunity to exercise my ability.
Yes.
It's counterintuitive when you think you could give 22 years to a company or companies.
Right.
You would think, and many of us do, because it makes sense. If you're going to invest 22 years of your expertise, you expect growth with the company.
Yes.
Well, not so fast, Black lady.
And I'm all chocolate.
Not so fast. So I'm so grateful. I think we have to remember that my Black is beautiful as long as you do what you're told to do. But my Black isn't beautiful when I ask for that C-suite office, when I ask for an executive position, when I ask for equal as my white colleague, Karen, #Karen. Come on now.
No, you did not, Victoria. No, you did not.
This is real. This is happening right now. Where economic exclusion has left people bereft with their generational wealth.
Right. Let me ask you this, though.
To change.
What is the work you're doing with BET?
So I'm really excited about working with BET Her on my movie Everything Is Fine. And Everything Is Fine will be airing on Saturday, tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Really important about mental health awareness, not only in our community, but a global community, especially during COVID-19 self-isolation. People with pre-existing mental illnesses, this has been devastating.
Yes.
The self-isolation.
Yes.
So I really want people to drill down and watch Everything Is Fine tomorrow on BET Her. And then it's going to be followed by my colleague Kim Field's movie, Baby Blue. So it's really powerful.
That is going to be something I am not missing. I'm going to catch both of them. You know, what made you want to do a project about mental health? I know how important it is for you in our Black community, but what made you say, let me get something out there?
I'll tell you, racism is a pandemic, and I believe racism is a mental illness. You'll hear various health professionals refer to it as that, such as Dr. Alvin Poussant in Massachusetts. But Black people have had to navigate racism, which causes tremendous mental strife. And more often than not, Black people who are enduring generations of suppression, repression, it can create anxiety, and more often than not, Black people who are suffering from depression, what's not depressing about this, are typically overprescribed medications, rather than drilling down the way that we're drilling down with BET Her on what causes a mental illness. It's not always hereditary. Sometimes it's the environment you live in. And why not peaceful protest, Black Lives Matter? Why not? Let's have the conversation about all of it.
Yeah, yeah. And what I love about it is on BET Her, you speak about all of it. And it's so important for us. You are such an inspiration to me. Honestly, I am so honored to have this moment to speak to you, and you dropping that wisdom to us. I mean,
well, we've got to know the power of our purses, the power of our wallets. I mean, for me, entertainment is politics. It is political. When you are taking a deep dive into mental wellness in the Black community, well, we got to talk about the whole nine.
Yes,
indeed. Got to
indeed.
talk about, why do we call mental illness being special? It's not special. It's something that deserves professional help. Yes, we pray on it. You know, God bless my foster mother, who was elderly. She said, well, Vicki, we're just going to pray. We're just going to pray for people. We're going to pray for world hunger. We're going to pray for poverty. But, Ma, we've got to pray and seek professional help. That's all I'm saying, Pastor. We also have to talk to the community about getting professional help.
Yes.
So that we're not looking at our Black and browns and our Native brothers and sisters that are incarcerated in the hundreds of thousands because of mental illness. Now, come on.
Right.
So we really have to look at what Everything is Fine is going to offer to our viewership, our BET Her viewership. We're really looking at all of that.
Wow.
What can happen in a snap due to a Black person suffering from mental illness in the community.
Right. And I love it. I mean, it's needed, and no one better than you to talk about it, because you have been in this game and you've seen it on both sides, the back side, the front side, the side, you know. And it's just so empowering, and we love you for that. I mean, sincerely love you for that.
I feel the love, and I want to say I don't do it alone. If it weren't for our fearless Black producer, Tressa Smallwood, with Megamind Media, and also Larissa Bates, Senior VP at BET. I mean, you need Black leadership. That's the point. If they were not in play, I wouldn't be here having the interview with you, case in point.
Right.
So that said, it's not just myself.
Right.
It includes my colleagues and sister friends, Vanessa Bell Calloway, as I mentioned, Kim Fields, and also Cheryl Lee Ralph, who directed me 20 years ago with Loretta Devine, with Robin Givens, with, let me just name drop, okay? Alfre Woodard.
Yes.
I mean, look, strength in numbers, okay? But it comes from the top down, as Daryl Miller would say, one of our leading Black attorneys here in Hollywood. Top down, bottom up. And that's why I'm sitting here, and that's why I'm a director for BET Her. So proud, so proud.
I am too. I'm like so in awe of you and your team, and we need you. And thank you so much. How can we stay connected to you?
Okay, well, look, just join me on my Instagram at Victoria Rowell. A lot of people refer to me as #AuntieVicki or #Auntie, which I love. And you can also stay connected with me on Twitter at Victoria Rowell. I'm always on LinkedIn. I answer quite readily. And I want to encourage people to watch my new series on UMC, Trash versus Treasure, about recycling and helping mothers who are mid to low to below poverty line incomes from LA to Jamaica. So please check us out also on Amazon Prime and Roku. We're there too. So watch the shows. Trash versus Treasure. Watch my soap opera, The Rich and the Ruthless. And soon on BET, my movie about, my produced and directed movie about opioid addiction in the Black family, Jacqueline and Jilly.
Wow.
So really proud to be in the game. Stay in the game, people. Be long distance runners. Am I right?
You are right. You are 100% right. And you know what? I'm definitely going to jump on. I want to see how I can help in any way. You are really a godsend, and thank you so much for taking time out.
My pleasure, darling.
Oh my gosh, you're amazing.
Stay safe. Wear a mask.
Yes. Stay 6 feet apart.
Bye.
Bye.